Okay, so this is a video that will take you through applying CARP, the design principles, contrast, alignment, repetition, and proximity, and applying them to a web page in Dreamweaver using CSS styles. So CARP is just an acronym that kind of boils down a whole bunch of design principles down into just 4 that are pretty easy to remember. And if you can do these 4 things, no matter what you design, whether it's something for a video or an animation, graphic design, website, PowerPoint, just about anything you can make look a lot better just by making sure you have each of these 4 things in there. So contrast is just making things look really different, making the important things more different, so that they really stand out from everything else and catch people's eye. So it can be a contrast to color, typeface, size, shape, all kinds of things. Alignment, usually use left alignment or right alignment. Once in a while, it's okay to use center alignment on some things. Repetition, another name for repetition is rhythm. Kind of a visual rhythm, like these 4 things have a visual rhythm, repeating the same formatting over and over. And another name for repetition is unity. So something that ties everything together, like the orange letters on here kind of tie in with the graphic at the top. They're the same orange. And then proximity is just grouping things. So things that are supposed to go together logically, put them together visually. And you can use lines and boxes and that kind of stuff, but always there's space in between. So like this is proximity on these, the heading with the text that goes with it, and in between each section, contributing to the grouping is some space in between each one. So if you check everything that you design to make sure it has enough contrast, alignment, repetition, proximity, then your design is going to be a lot better. So anyway, in this, on Google Classroom, for the web project, you've got a PDF and you've got a zip file, and the PDF you can just open. You're still going to need the PDF even though you're using this video. So I'm just going to open it in a new tab, and then I'm going to also download the zip file. The way I opened that in a new tab, if you want to do it that way, was just right click on it or control click and open a new tab. It might be worded differently depending on what browser you're using. So, and then to get the zip file, I'm just clicking on it. And when it lists it here, don't click on that. Instead, go up and click on the download arrow. And then once it's downloaded, it depends on the browser. Again, it may show up in the bar up at the top. It may show up down at the bottom. Then you've got it there, and it's probably in your downloads folder. So then the steps at the beginning of the PDF are what I'm going to take you through first in 1 and 2. So if you've already done those and you got the folder set up in the right place on the server, then you can kind of skip ahead in the video to where you need to be. But so I'm going to go to Finder by clicking on the little guy down at the bottom, and I'm not logged into the server yet, so I'm going to do Command K. And so it's 10:45:15, and it should be SMB:// in front of that. If there's another one that pops up sometimes, I think it's AFP, and that one doesn't always work. So make sure it's SMB, or it may just go ahead and connect automatically, which is fine. And then you're going to log in with e9 and Macintosh, MACINTOSH. And then go to your folder. So if this is hour 1, and maybe I'm in Olson's class, and then find your folder in here. So I'm going to make a new one here because start a fresh thing here. So I'm going to go up to new folder. You won't have to make a new folder. Alright, so this is me. And so you've got that folder there. And we've got the zip file. So I'm going to go to my downloads where the zip file went. So there it is. If your browser was set to download stuff to somewhere else other than the downloads folder, it may be in the desktop. So anyway, find the zip file, double click on it, and it will unzip it, which just means it extracts the folder from there. And there's some files in it. Okay. Then once you've got that extracted, you just need to right click on that and copy it, and then go back to your server folder, 1045.15 e9. This is me. Where am I? There's me. And then right click and paste. And if your right click's not working, just control left click. Okay, so inside your folder with your name on it, you'll have a bunch of other stuff, and then you should see this new folder. And I just realized I think one thing in the instructions is wrong in the PDF. That is, you don't need to duplicate the page to go in here. I've already got 2 HTML pages in there. So, but just to rename it, to put your name in it, you just click on it once and then you wait a second and then click on it again one time. So it's not a double click. You're clicking on it twice, but leave some space, some time in between the 2 clicks. And then you can name it. Okay, but keep one called CSS Poem and the other one just called Poem. If that click thing isn't working for you, just right click on the file or control click and then rename. Me, this is like Yoda. So now you've got your 2 files, 2 HTML files. You've got the dog barking PNG, and you've got Poem CSS, which is a style sheet. So then you're all set in Finder and ready to go to Dreamweaver. So when you start up Dreamweaver, it'll jump up and down for a minute. And it will come up to this thing. And we don't really want any of this on the welcome screen. Don't open anything. If you get the welcome screen, just close it. Make this a little bigger. Okay, and looking at the PDF, so now we've got the files here. Now what we need to do is set up the new site, because you're in a different room than you were last time we did Dreamweaver, so Dreamweaver needs to know where your stuff is. So that's really what we're doing. And so in Dreamweaver, you're just going to go up to Site. I know it's off the top of the screen, but Site and then New Site. And just name it something with your name in it, so you can recognize it in the file, in the list, in the Files panel. And then click that Browse folder. We're already logged into the server. So just wait a second after you click on 1045.15, let it connect again. And then just find your folder. Okay, and double click on it to choose it. So it'll show up in this top part right here. You don't need to go into the web folder actually for this. Either one will work. But I'm just going to this one, just the one with my name on it, and hit choose. So it'll look something like this. And then hit save. Okay, and then you may need to come over here and press the refresh arrow, but generally what you should see is your name's website there and then some files. And this is not real easy to work with right now, so I'm going to get on this little border between size and local files and move that over so I can see them better. Okay, so I have my 4 files that were downloaded and 2 of them were renamed. Okay, then don't open up the CSS file. If you do, and this has been happening to some people, so I guess I'll do it just to show you. So if you open up a CSS file, you'll just see code like this, and split view and design view and live view won't work because these are just codes for styles that they don't really do anything on their own, standalone, because it's HTML that makes up a web page that you can actually see. And CSS just kind of rides along on the back of the HTML file. So you don't need to open any CSS, and really the only one we're going to be working with right at the beginning is the one that says your name CSS poem. So I'm going to double click that, and then that opens it up. Some stuff you should be seeing that to make sure we're all looking at the same thing. Once this is an HTML page that you've got loaded in here, you do have the option of looking at code, which we're actually not going to use this time, split, where you can see both, or design, and then there's also a live view that goes along with design view, which shows you more closely what it's going to look like in the browser. It's still not perfect, but it's pretty close. And you can't edit a page like the HTML itself very much when it's in live view. But we're going to be editing CSS, so we will be able to leave this in live view because we're not editing this file itself, we're actually editing the styles that attach to it. So you should see those 3 things. Your workspace, to match up with mine, should be set on beginner. And I'm going to reset beginner just because some of yours may look like this, where you see the document object model here. We're not going to use that. I'm going to close that. CSS designer and files are the 2 things we're going to use. Okay. In CSS designer, you may have some of these collapsed like this, and you won't see stuff that I'm looking at. So make sure those are kind of pulled apart so you can see what's in each one. Okay, that's CSS designer. Also make sure you're on all for that. And then files is just the stuff we've been looking at. And you should also see the properties down at the bottom. Okay, so this is just a poem by a poet named Billy Collins. He was the poet laureate of the United States for a while. And he writes kind of humorous poems, some of his are anyway. And so this is called Another Reason Why I Don't Keep a Gun in the House, which is not that he would actually shoot a dog, because I know he wouldn't, but just kind of a humorous poem about the dog next door that won't stop barking. So we're going to add some styles to this that match the dog and sort of fit with the poem, and also follow the principles of CARP, contrast, alignment, repetition, proximity. So this is kind of a good stopping place for this video. So in the next one, I'll show you how to start doing the styles.